and how they were going to politically kind of carve out this whole thing about how she was going to be the point person, the owner. They took Alex Rodriguez's name out of all of that aspect of the ownership group. And, they did, they're also making a public argument that Steve Cohen is going to be hard-pressed to be okayed by MLB owners. Well, he's going to be okayed. He's got the money. The Wilpons have every right to sell the team to whoever they want to, whoever has the most money, who's ever willing to write the biggest check, assume the most amount of debt, all of that stuff, to let them be free and clear. And they need to do it before the end of the year because of tax reasons. And we know that. So now all of a sudden it becomes the political game. It becomes, this will be a first, not a first, but a woman owner in Major League Baseball. This would be good for society and everything else. So now they're going to play that angle of it. And I have no idea exactly how much money they have or how much real money they have or who's actually really calling the shots here. At least with Steve Cohen, I know who's calling the shots. Man, I know that he is a dyed-in-the-wool Met fan, and I know that his company went through some tough times. They paid a fine for it. It wasn't shown that he was involved. It was just shown that people underneath him did some things that they shouldn't have been doing, and they paid a dear price for it. So at the end of the day, he has the money. He can write the check, and it's the simplest, cleanest deal of all. And I think I would like to think that I speak for most Met fans, that that's exactly what we want. We want a clean deal. We want somebody who has the money, the deep pockets, somebody who is a Met fan, and somebody who's going to invest money into the team. Now, I know that the J-Rod ownership came out and said, if we don't win a World Series in 10 years, we're going to make a $100 million donation. I mean,
just do it anyway.
I mean, what does that mean? I mean,
it's
come
like
on.
some sort of punishment for them. Like if we don't win a World Series, just to punish ourselves, we'll do $100 million of charity.
It's all political posturing. That's what it is. It's all, well, we're going to say this to put pressure on them. We're going to say this to put pressure on him. We're going to say this to exert pressure on Major League Baseball and their ownership group and everything else. So that's actually where we sit right now. Nothing has changed, by the way. Steve Cohen, I know this is still in exclusive negotiations with Fred and Saul Katz to buy the team. That, in fact, is going on right now. And they got to get through some of the language. They have to get through some of the tax situations. And I'm telling you, I think it's a slam dunk. I think he's going to be the owner. I think that's what it's going to be. And I think all this other stuff, the front page of the Post, the page 6 articles, wherever you find the articles, who's ever bitching and complaining about whatever the situation is, at the end of the day, Steve Cohen has the money. He's the guy, and he's the guy that the Mets are going to end up selling the team to.
So I don't believe that Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez are going to swoop in and buy the team away from Steve Cohen. I don't think it'll happen. But if it did, it would be the ultimate Mets bullpen blow-it type of moment for Mets fans. That's what it would be like. It would be like the worst Edwin Diaz blown save, the worst Armando Benitez blown save, the worst Billy Wagner blown, Mel Rojas, whoever. That's what it would feel like, because we'd already been teased once by Steve Cohen. He was ripped away. And now we feel like he's 100% the owner with everything we have heard. And then they even put a statement out. As I said, they were done. Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez. We don't want to do this. It's disappointing. My dad's favorite baseball team. We did everything we could. We felt like it was a competitive bid, but we're bowing out. And then all of a sudden, no, we're not bowing out. Last-ditch, 11th hour stuff. And I can't believe there's any Mets fans, or at least more than 2% of them, who would want to see Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez own the team. Jennifer Lopez is going to be the point person. She's going to be no offense to Jennifer Lopez. She's had a miraculous career. She's amazing, in all sorts of things. But she's going to be the point person on a Major League Baseball team?
I will say this. It does. Her career spans not only movies and performing and singing, but she's done so many other things away from that aspect, creating a makeup line, things of that nature. I mean, so she does have the business acumen. She does have the name.
But it's baseball now.
I understand. We make fun, and I get it. It's a celebrity couple, if you will. We're talking billions of dollars here. We're talking about the Mets, and we're talking about Flushing, Queens. We're talking about Jenny from the Bronx and everything else. But, in all reality, though, she has become she's a I don't know how to put it. She makes money like you wish you could. Like in this country, when somebody like her ascends to where she has come from and how long she has done what she has done and how good she has done it, you do have to respect that. I mean, both in performance, but also the business acumen that she does bring to the table. I will say that. And she is an exciting personality. I don't want to ruin any of that stuff, but I don't want that owning my baseball team.
It's not a good fit.
I know. I just don't want... I really don't want Arod around the baseball team either. But, at the end of the day, I want the one guy that has the money, the deep pockets, that is going to put the money into the team. I don't really care what the guy's name is. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care. The only thing I care about is that he has the money and he's willing to spend it.
This is all you need to know about Steve Cohen. He released a statement about the passing of Tom Seaver because it meant so much to him, and he knew it meant so much to Met fans, and he's of that age where it really affected him. And he knew...
he's my age, a little bit older than me, I think, and Tom Seaver affected all of us.
I mean, could Jennifer Lopez pick Tom Seaver out of a lineup if you put 5 pitchers in front of her? Probably not. Without the uniforms on, no. That's all you need to know if you're a Mets fan. And I'm not saying that Jennifer Lopez isn't one of the most successful people in this country. She is. Hats off, all the respect in the world. But it's just not a good fit. Hell, if Theo Epstein wanted to start his own mascara line, I wouldn't think that was a good idea either. It's just not a good fit.
I will say this. I mean, Jennifer Lopez is proof positive that if you work your ass off, you can become a billionaire. And she is proof positive of that. That the opportunities that she seized upon with her own talent and then with her own foresight to create the empire that she has created literally by herself. All right, I mean, it stands alone. I mean, she's about as talented as they come in this country. So
right, and I will give her credit for the fact we see a lot of these like Kylie Jenners or the Kardashian clan. That they haven't really done much to achieve their status outside of being train wrecks on reality TV. Jennifer Lopez is actually a role model for young girls. She is, where 100%. These other are not. And I don't want to get any of that confused. But I don't want her owning my baseball team, and that will never change. Her and Alex Rodriguez. That will never, ever change. Now, if she went and bought another team in another sport that I didn't care about, great, have fun. It doesn't personally affect me. This personally affects me, and we've all been through hell and back with that team, and this, to me, would be a mess. It just would be.
Yeah, I see the page 6 thing. I see the back page stuff. I see... where are Jenny and Arod? Where are they today? What are they doing tomorrow? What's going on? Are they still together on Valentine's Day? I mean, I can just see it all. You could just see everything. And meanwhile, you got to worry about Steve Cohen in the SEC and whether or not there's any illegal trading going on. But there's something with everybody. Then on top of all of this, everybody talks about Steve Cohen getting okayed by the MLB owners. Was Arod going to get okayed by the MLB owners? He actually embarrassed baseball.
Exactly. And we had said that for weeks leading up to this, how Steve Cohen was the guy who wasn't going to get approved. But Arod, who was bad-mouthing Major League Baseball, walking into courtrooms, slamming his fists on desks, lying at press conferences, lying in interviews, cheating for years and years and years, that this guy who was supposed to be the golden boy of baseball, who just lit himself on fire in the latter part of his career, was going to get approved. Okay. I mean, who's your second-hand man? Pete Rose?
Let me ask you this question. And it's a hypothetical, and I hate asking hypothetical because they're hard to answer. And but let's say instead of Arod and J-Lo, it was Derek Jeter and J-Lo. Would you be for that?
Man, I mean, that'd be a tough thing for Mets fans because of how much of a legendary Yankee he is. But even though things haven't gone well in Miami, you trust his decision-making process. That's the thing. I could convince myself that was a good idea. Even though it's Derek Jeter and it's a Yankee and all of that, I would be able to talk myself into the fact that Derek Jeter would find a way to turn the franchise into a winner. I can't do that with A-Rod. I can't do it with A-Rod and J-Lo. I always feel like, do they want to own the team because they have dreams of winning a World Series and being on a float with a ticker tape parade, or they just want to be the owners of the Mets so they could check that off their list of celebrity billionaire things to do?
I would say that if A-Rod and J-Lo ended up getting the team, of course they want to win.
J-Lo cares about a World Series?
Yes. Do you know what that – I mean, what that would do for her brand even more so? I mean, I don't know. I think there's.
But you just said it right there for her brand. Steve Cohen doesn't care about his brand. Steve Cohen wants to see the Mets win a World Series.
I know.
He's talking about his brand on the phone right now?
You know what? No, he's not. But I do believe that if they did ever get it, they would want to win. Yes, of course they would want to win. I mean, if Arod is still, an ex-athlete, and I'm sure he's still competing in something, whether at the gym or whatever it is, I don't know. But I would imagine, yes, the whole idea is to win. And I know that, in this truncated season, maybe the Miami Marlins can win because Derek Jeter is a very competitive guy. And, maybe his team can catch lightning in a bottle here in the last 15 games or so. And you never know. Maybe they make it to the playoffs. Maybe they can knock somebody off. I mean, with this crazy season, crazy year, maybe the Islanders are the team that, have shown that a team that nobody thought could go anywhere is now, on the brink of a Stanley Cup final. They still have to get through, obviously, Tampa, which is not going to be easy. But the fact that they're there, nobody thought they were going to be there except for them. So I could see how Derek Jeter is competitive, and maybe this is the year that the Miami Marlins sneak in because of the way the season's unfolding. But, yeah, I would believe that Arod would want to win. There's no question. He would want to bring the Mets a championship because he wants to validate his baseball acumen, and that's what that would do for him.
Sure, that's fine. I mean, but Jennifer Lopez is now being the point person on all of the paperwork.
But you know why,
here.
Though?
I know why. I get it.
You know 100% why. It's all about now.
I know. First,
I would
minority woman to own the team. I know that's why they're putting it out there to try to. I get it. But my point is, though, that I would come back and say, all right, so this Jennifer Lopez, you want to win a World Series? This is why you're doing this?
Of course she does.
No, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
If they were good and just making it to the playoffs and getting bounced and they were making money, she'd be thrilled.
Hey, dude, I'm telling you right now, the Mets are a losing money operation, just so you know that.
There you go, exactly. If they turned it around and made some money, they'd be thrilled. They don't care about a World Series. You kidding me?
I'm telling you that, yes, they would want to win. There's no question in my mind that both of them.
Maybe Arod would to boost their egos.
At everything. Do you realize how big of a worldwide star she is?
I get it, but I'm telling you, they would if they did want to win. If they wanted to win, it wouldn't be for losing to the Yankees in the 2000 World Series. It wouldn't be losing to the Cardinals in 2006. It wouldn't be like to avenge those losses because of the pain that they've had as Mets fans, like Steve Cohen has. Even though he saw a couple of championships, it wouldn't be like to avenge the 88 NLCS and the Socia home run. It would be to boost their brand and to feed their egos. And that's not what we need. That's not what we need.
I mean, look, Steve Cohen has an ego too, man, by the way, and it's ginormous, and he wants to win.
But he's also a real Mets fan.
But he also wants to win at every. Arod always has been a Mets fan. He's always said he's loved the Mets. You know that. I'm just saying that I don't want them either. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they would want to win a World Series with the Mets. Of course they would. I want Steve Cohen because he's got the deep pockets and he'll spend the money. And you know what? He ain't getting any younger. And, what are you going to do? You can't take all the money to the grave, right? The government's taking half of it, so you might as well figure it out. And this probably has a lot to do with what's going on with the Mets right now and selling it.
Sure.
So I would just say that I'm with you in lockstep with who I'd like to have as an owner, but I'm not going to sit here and disparage, A-Rod and J-Lo from thinking that they wouldn't want to win. Of course they would. Hey, the last thing that J-Lo and A-Rod want is a last-place team. Well, and the last thing that they want to be is on the back page of the paper being called cheapskates because they're not putting any money into the team.
Right. That I will agree with. But the motivation matters to me. It does. Like the motivation to win, the motivation why they want the team matters to me as a fan. And I really believe that, Steve Cohen at his $14 billion net worth wants to buy this team, not because it's a great investment, but because he loves the Mets. And the A-Rod J-Lo thing was just like, it's an opportunistic thing is what it is. And then they're throwing this other stuff out. They're like, oh, it's my father's favorite baseball team, and I used to watch them as a kid. Like, I don't buy any of that stuff.
Well, I don't know about any of that. All I know is that the Wilpon and Katz families have the right to sell to whoever they want to sell to. And what is the cleanest, what is the best deal, where is the most money coming from? That's how I would be looking at it if I were selling it. the fact that now all of a sudden out of the clear blue comes the politics side of it and the leverage side of it and the guilt side of it. I'm sorry. I get, I don't want to hear any of that. What I want to hear is who the Mets are selling it to. They have the right to sell it to anybody, and they have the right to make as much money as they possibly can. And that would be a right for anybody who is selling any professional sports team for that matter. So that's where the Wilpons and Katzes have decided that they are going to go with Steve Cohen. They are in negotiations with him. They are working through the language. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't hear something before, either this month is over or the month of October is over.
Yeah, they could talk about all the firsts they want with Arod and J-Lo. I would say I'd counter it with, Steve Cohen would be the first real Met fan to own the team, because we had a couple of Dodger fans who have owned the team now for a number of years. So why not have a real Mets fan own the team? Because for crying out loud, they built a replica of Ebbets Field and had no Mets anything in that place when it first opened. It was a joke. This guy, he knows the history of the team at least,
yes,
albeit an up-and-down roller coaster one and one that's left you with some scars, but he knows the history of the team.
And I know that, the Mets owners took, it to heart when they heard the fans upset at the general lack of Met memorabilia and Met history. There isn't a lot, but there is some, and there's enough to be able to put things out there. And the fact that, I was screaming about this since I started here. I don't know if you know this, but this was before the building of Citi Field. I said, I want a statue of Tom Seaver, and I want him there. Now, I don't know what the relationships were between he and the Mets at that time and all that other stuff. And I speak for all Met fans. I don't just speak for myself. I'm speaking for all my Met fans that, like Steve Cohen, that grew up idolizing Tom Seaver, and he is the greatest Met of all time, and nobody has any doubt about that.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.